Welcome back to the Crypto's Key conversation. I have a lot I want to cover in this video, but the overwhelming topic that's been hitting kind of the mainstream is this whole thing with U.S. authorities arrest former Coinbase manager alleging an insider crypto trading. So that's going to be one of the topics that we're going to be covering in this video. But we're going to have some Ripple versus SEC updates from James K. Fallon. Jeremy Hogan kind of speaks upon this update from James K. Fallon, and then we're going to cover some more information on Congress Brad Sherman and kind of what he stated in this last oversight hearing and how it's going to trickle into kind of this narrative and this agenda that we in the crypto community have been kind of anticipating and expecting based on the action that has been presented by government officials in regards of how they view the crypto space and how they're almost in a sense, not in a sense, but actively are, regulating by enforcement when it comes to like the SEC. And obviously we need crypto regulations in the space, and they're trying to find a way to come after these platforms so they can help, their buddies out on these big, institutions or platforms or banks to set up their custodying. So it's going to trickle into what we're going to cover in regards of how these things are going to lead into this whole, we can say, custodying battle in regards of, us as investors, where we're going to hold our digital assets at. But quickly coming over here to CoinGecko, we're currently sitting at a $1.09 trillion market cap, currently up 0.7% for the day. And as you can see, Bitcoin is sitting at 23,188. So I quickly want to talk about this real quick because I've been listening to a couple of technical analysis analysts on YouTube and through Twitter, and also looking at some fundamental analysis people and kind of getting their different perspectives on the market. And there's some people talking about this could be some sort of false oil rally just to kind of draw in some longs and further liquidate, investors within the community. And there's other analysts that are saying, we're kind of showing a lot more upside potential in regards of, getting a more bullish scenario within the markets. So it's kind of a toss up as to how things are going to be. Obviously, there's some stuff coming out next week in regards of the United States inflation rates and what they're going to do with the interest rate hikes, and a lot of other things that are going to be coming up that could, have a negative or positive effect on the market. So it's just kind of a waiting game. But I quickly wanted to touch on that. So make sure you're very wary about, your dollar cost averaging, and first of all, getting your assets, and make sure you're self-custodying them and protecting yourself, because all these platforms are being affected, and it's kind of happening at like a domino effect, one after another. So take care of yourself. Coming down here, XRP is sitting at 36 cents, almost 37 cents, currently at 1.5%. So let's see if we got a big 24-hour gainer. Curve Dow, 21.3%, Synthetics Network, 15.4%, Cosmos Hub, 13.7%, and so on. Coming over here to the Bitcoin Fear Greed Index, we're currently sitting at 34. So just yesterday, we ticked in at 31. We're up 3 points, so this is positive. We're going to have an update here in 12 minutes, so curious to see where this thing's going to go. But it's good to see that we're still, not in this extreme fear range. We're in this fear range. So still a lot of market uncertainty, but we got to take the little wins when we can. Starting with this from James K. Fallon, I want to always thank James K. Fallon for updating us. It says the SEC has requested permission to file a 30-page opening brief and a 10-page reply brief in support of the SEC's objections to Magistrate Judge Netbird's ruling, ordering the SEC to disclose the hymn and speech documents. Ripple objects. So the crazy thing about this is it's been over a year that they've been battling back and forth about the hymn and speech and these documents being released to Ripple. What does that tell you? There's something in there that it's damning to, their side and their position within the case. And it's quite evident. And it should be plain as day at this point if you haven't been tracking this, but it's just like, this is really happening. Fred Rispoli says, interesting to see how Judge Torres responds to this minor request. Instinctively, I think she denies requests. But on the other hand, considering she is not going to overturn Judge Netburn's ruling on the motion, why not let SEC waste time and money on 40 pages of garbage? ? Jeremy Hogan has something on this too. He says the SEC is actually going to object to Judge Netburn's scathing order regarding attorney-client privilege and ask Judge Torres to overturn the order. This is the order in which Judge Netburn called the SEC's argument hypocritical. Someone needs to talk them off the ledge. And they're literally like, we'll just say they've been digging their own grave, and it's been quite evident. Monique right here says, the big FU would be if Judge Torres filed a response today with words denied. I hope she or her assistants are here somewhere relaying my message. This irrational charade needs to stop. Over a year of fighting for these emails, please. Jeremy Hogan says, I second this thought. XRP Crypto Wolf says, SEC seriously thinks they can do whatever they want, including disrespecting court judges by not complying with their orders. No ordinary citizen could get away with doing something like this. And that's straight facts, man. And that's the sickening part about it. And in the meantime, as all this shady stuff's happening, this delay and suppression of information, not allowing Ripple to, fully, protect themselves in regards of getting the proper information to protect themselves and fight this case, but they're hurting the so-called investors that they're set out to protect, which is crazy. I mean, the judge got to see this, through in and throughout. I mean, quite honestly, from what Johnny Deaton says and other, attorneys within the community and what, the judges have done, it's quite evident that they're allowing, the SEC to have as much rope as they can to, hang themselves. And that's kind of what we've been seeing. Quite interesting. Coming over here, I wanted to bring this up because we made a video the other day about Brad Sherman on the oversight hearing and kind of his remarks on regards of XRP being a security, and it's quite evident. It says, this is from Charles Gasparino. It says, Sherman tells Fox Business he believes SEC will easily win its case against Ripple over the legality of its unregistered sales of XRP and has been in contact with Gary Gensler to expand the case. So Brad Sherman says, Fox Business has it somewhat wrong. I often speak to SEC Chair Gary Gensler, sometimes about crypto, but never regarding XRP. Only conversations I've had with an SEC official regarding XRP is testimony of Director Gerwal, whatever. And then Jeremy Hogan goes, do you often give public opinion on pending legal case without seeing the actual evidence in the case? And that's kind of what I'm saying. Is just like, you would think this gentleman would be well aware that, first of all, it's literally active litigation going on right now. All the evidence isn't there, and that's been shown through litigation motions, documents, especially from James K. Fallon, and Jeremy Hogan is saying it right now. But it's like, how do you know? Based on whatever little information you have in that brain, how do you know that XRP is a security when no one's classified it as a security? There's no written law that this is a security, and that's the crazy part about it. So you coming out speaking on it it can affect the markets. And obviously we saw some rally within the entire crypto market after the oversight hearing had concluded. But the point is like, how can you make that bold statement? Who is core horse in this gentleman, and who's paid him, whether it's a donor or wrote it on his note that he was reading that, hey, you need to say this. Like, who programmed this gentleman to say that, which is crazy. But it's going to lead into kind of what I'm going to go into in regards of like custodying and going after exchanges and stuff. So right here, we're going to take a listen into this 1 minute, 22-second video here. A digital asset investor says, vote him out. Check his donor list. So let's listen into this.
You've gone after XRP because XRP is a security. But you haven't gone after all the major crypto exchanges that process tens of thousands, if not far more, transactions. If XRP is a security, and you think it is, and I think it is, why are these crypto exchanges not in violation of law? And is it enough that the crypto exchanges have said, well, having committed tens of thousands of violations in the past, we promise not to do any more in the future? Is that enough to get you off the hook for enforcement?
So again, I can't talk about what matters we're looking at or not looking at. We have brought exchange cases. We brought one last year against Poloniex. I share your concerns that if securities are...
It's easier to go after the small fish than the big fish. But the big fish operating the major exchanges did many, many tens of thousands of transactions with XRP. It's a security. That means they were illegally operating a securities exchange. They know it's illegal because they stopped doing it, even though it was profitable. So if they know it's illegal, and you know it's illegal, and I know it's illegal, I hope you'd focus on that. And then you've...
So I mean, just that little grin and little snarky smile on his face as he's saying it's crazy. So pretty much classifying like, okay, well, if we know XRP is as a security, and you're this exchange, we'll just say Coinbase because Coinbase is the major topic that's going on right now, and it's been brought into question, whether Coinbase is, next on the SEC's list, and is that going to be the exchange that Johnny Deaton says an exchange by the end of this year, the SEC is going to, go after and sue an exchange, a major exchange. Is that going to be Coinbase? But it's like, okay, they're saying, okay, we know XRP is a security. We know these exchanges like Coinbase are, have sold XRP in the past, so they've done it illegally. So pretty much, how are you going to handle that? So they're kind of leading into this whole narrative of like, okay, without true precedent being set, and there's been no security classification set, especially on XRP. It's like they're just throwing it in this bucket list of like, okay, all these digital assets are securities. You're selling securities. You're doing things illegal. We're coming after you. So it's going to transition into kind of what I'm saying here. James K. Fallon says below are the SDNY indictment in the SEC insider trading complaint against the ex-Coinbase employee involving various token listing and under consideration for a listing on Coinbase. So if we come over here to Watcher Brewer News, it says U.S. authorities detain former Coinbase employee for insider trading. Coming down here really quick, right here, it says the latest update saw the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commissions and prosecutors in the Southern District of New York arrest the leading crypto exchange's ex-product manager. According to Bloomberg, Ashan Wahi, who formerly worked at Coinbase as a product manager, allegedly disclosed confidential token listing information on Coinbase to his brother and a friend, Nikhil Wahi and Samir Ramani, respectively. Wahi reportedly provided illicit financial advice along with leaking insider information when he recommended his accomplices to conduct purchases for the tokens in the discussion. So clearly, I mean, this isn't anything new. This is just obviously something that's been, brought out to the mainstream and someone actually being arrested. And obviously, one of the big things that I'm going to bring up is the whole Nancy Pelosi thing and the Nancy Pelosi family. And this is, I don't know the exact figures, but I'm referencing this article here from July 18th. This is Benzinga, but this is just kind of just to give it into context. You're talking about insider trading, and obviously that's a big deal, right? And I think this ex Coinbase employee and the family had profited like 1.5 million or something like that. But then you got stuff like that's actively happening within our regulated markets. Pelosi family making millions in the market. The latest on Paul Pelosi's timely trades. And here goes the key points from the article. It says Nancy Pelosi's net worth in 2008 was 32 million and exploded to an estimated 115 million in 2018. Paul Pelosi purchased 200,000 shares of Nvidia, which we covered in our past video, worth $1 million and $5 million, which I guess, Nancy Pelosi is going to be heading some sort of, I can't remember, bill or something that's can affect, this Nvidia, shares that they have bought, pretty much boosting, I guess the growth. The growth potential within this company that, Paul Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's husband, had purchased in. And this is kind of the insider stuff that we're talking about. Yeah, she may not actively herself be, pressing the buttons and investing, but her husband is, with the information that she has, with the power that she has. Not the public doesn't have access to that. But then you got, the U.S. authorities going after and detaining, members within, Coinbase, perfect example. But it's going to transition into kind of all these things we're talking about in regards of, the security status and security classification of, digital assets, and all these exchanges are doing these things wrong. But while that's being said, you have stuff like this going on, and these people aren't, we doubt they'll ever see the jail cell. But if we were to do it, everyday people, we're definitely going to prison. Coming over here, this is from JV. Shout out JV. Follow JV if you haven't. I guess Coinbase and the rest of the crypto industry thought the SEC would stop at XRP with the security claims. Hope they prepared to delist most of their listings. Brian Armstrong should have stepped up and joined Ripple from the beginning. So yes, absolutely 100% agree. Johnny Deaton literally, but not even stepping up for Ripple from the beginning, but even when Johnny Deaton said, hey, when he's reached out to Brian Armstrong and he said, hey, you should, bring the fight to the SEC in regards of their lending product that they wanted to put out, and the SEC shot it down before it even begun. They should have did it. They should have took that advice and brought the fight to them. But now, as we can see, what we've been saying in the community is happening. It's actively happening. there's a lot of people that hit against XRP and Ripple and can care less about what happens to, within the case. But it's like now people are starting to see it's like, oh, the SEC and the government officials aren't stopping just with XRP and Ripple. They're coming after everybody. And if they win this case, all that does is give them more power. And I guess we could say more power over the jurisdiction of the crypto space to, continue to, over-regulate by enforcement, which is going to affect just the innovation and growth within the space in general. So this is a big deal. So obviously we talked about the U.S. authorities arresting the Coinbase manager. There's an article that was talking about SEC listing 9 tokens as securities as insider trading case. So, and then here's the thing: it's like the CFTC commissioner Carolyn Pham took issue with the SEC labeling certain crypto assets as securities in an example of regulation by enforcement. So, and that's the overwhelming problem that we're talking about. It's like, okay, clearly it's over regulation by enforcement. There has been no precedent set. There has been nothing written in law that states, we'll say, for instance, XRP being a security. So why are these government officials and government representative, just bold statement claiming that, XRP and these digital assets are securities while still trying to, take that information and throw it into these exchanges that are so-called selling these so-called securities that haven't been determined securities, to pretty much blacklist them and to give the green light for the SEC and other government officials to go in and overregulate and sue these companies. Think about it. All this stuff, all these people are, paid, like, hey, we'll help you out. We'll get you in position. We'll get you a cherry, but you got to, scratch my back, I'll scratch your back type thing. And these are big Wall Street, big money, the powers that be that are doing this. So these are the major banks, major institutions out there, these major platforms that are going to be so-called setting their custodying up when it comes to the digital asset space when this regulation comes in. So not, when those trillions and trillions of dollars start coming into the space and, just like we have the banks to deposit our money, we're going to need places to deposit, our digital assets. Not everyone's going to want to self-custody. So it's like now you're starting to see the transition of, all right, let's start going after these exchanges. Let's start, reining this in so we can start setting up, our buddies and the rest of this, I guess you could say, what do they call it? Would you say the OG, custodying and financial institutions or the powers that be? It's crazy. I know I'm saying a lot, but it's like you got to kind of start thinking these things, thinking these things through. And regulations is great. I'm not saying regulations isn't bad, but it's like make sure that they're fair and just and don't hinder the innovation and growth within the space. I wanted to play this just to end it. I know we're at 17 minutes, but this is from Digital Asset Investor. Says, everybody in the United States of America and the rest of the world needs to see this and retweet 1,000 times. All these people need to be out of our government for our children's future and a country free of corruption. And that's the key. Corruption, corrupt, conflicts of interest, their personal agendas. They're not out for the everyday people. They're not out for us. They're in for themselves and their buddies. So let's take a listen in.
We keep talking about Congress and stock trading. Nancy Pelosi, of course, or her husband, I should say, trading in NVIDIA recently. You care deeply, I believe, and part of your mandate is to deal with the credibility of the markets. Clearly, this undermines the credibility of the markets to see folks in Congress trading back and forth. We're talking about it. People are raising questions. Is there something that you can be doing?
Well, I leave those decisions to Congress, but I agree with you that markets are based on trust. Finance broadly is based on trust, and whether regular investors feel they're getting a fair shake and they have these similar opportunities to the largest investors. We do have a role in terms of something Congress passed many years ago called the Stock Act, and we do play a role along with the Department of Justice, and this is about how members actually may trade in the markets.
Madam Speaker, I rise today to honor a departing member of my office, my longtime senior advisor, Jaime Lizarraga. This is a moment of great official pride, as last week he was unanimously confirmed by the Senate to serve as a commissioner of the Securities and Exchange Commission. His departure is also bittersweet for me, as he's been an invaluable member of our team for the last 15 years.
Yeah, man, the stuff's a trip, man. It's crazy. Here's just kind of my last little spiel. It's crazy how like we can all literally bust our butts, you know, be good citizens, you know, go to school like our parents teach us to do, get degrees, you know, find careers that we're passionate about and work our butts off, you know, have the time away from our families because we got to work and, you know, just to make, you know, barely ends meet, right? Invest a little bit of money we have in the things that we can invest in. You know, clearly a lot of us aren't, you know, accredited investors, so we can't invest in, you know, more highly speculative things that have a greater return, right? But the big, you know, the big players and the people who have a lot of money within, you know, the world can, right? When it comes to the United States, at least. But it's like all these things are set up to almost against us. And then you have, you know, these people in positions of power, you know, abusing their positions of power. And there's corruption, conflicts of interest, you know, nepotism, favoritism, and picking winners and losers. And it's like everything fits their agenda, but they're there to represent us. But we're the ones that get the short end of the stick. We're the ones holding the bags. We're the ones that don't truly achieve financial freedom and prosperity. And I think that's sick. And I love that digital asset investor always talks about, you know, for our children, for our future of our country. Like it's so important, and people really need to be educated in regards of kind of what's really happening. You know, they say all these different things, right? But just watch what they do. And as you can see, we in the community can piece things together and show you the corruption and show you they're not out for us. We have to look out for us. We have to continue to bring the fight to them. Keep surfacing all this information. As you can see down here, he's tagging all these people. He's posting stuff all the time, just like a lot of other community members in there, tagging everybody. So no one can come back and say, oh, we didn't know, we weren't aware. It's like, well, we got tweet threads we can show you. We have video footage of these tweet threads that we can show you. So there's nothing that you can say. It's just crazy. It's crazy, man. I just think about my life right now, my family, my kids, and how hard and everything that I had to go through to get to where I'm at today. And to have, you know, my hard-earned money, my wife's and I hard-earned money be invested and to be hindered and stifled due to someone's own personal agenda for them and their buddies, it's sickening to me. It's crazy. And this has got to stop, man. And I just hope that, you know, all this good work that us in the community, especially the big players in the community, I really hope that it does make an impact when it comes to this, you know, when it comes to the crypto space in particular, but when it comes to this thing being not said and done, but, you know, I guess resolving certain issues at a time. We got to check one box at a time. Crazy, man. But that's kind of the update. Make sure you come to the Crypto is Key Conversation YouTube channel, subscribe, follow us on Twitter at CryptoIsKey1. Really appreciate the support here. Really excited to continue to grow this community. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.